Hello, hello. Hello, my voice is audible. Please confirm. My voice is audible. Please confirm. Yes, yes, well, now it's audible. Dear student, a very good morning to all of you. So, dear student, today we are going to see about 15th July, The Hindu newspaper analysis. So, dear student, let me explain what is the objective of this discussion. So, I'm trying to, make this discussion very linkage way. Like that means all I'm going to link all this current affair with the application over part, like where they can ask prelims, where they can ask mains, so that while reading any newspaper, if you know that how you are going to use this article for your mains answer writing, how or what kind of possible mains question they can ask from this article. Okay, so let's proceed. And first, how you can get this PDF? So you can simply scan this QR code. So you will download our infographics edition. So from there, you'll get this the PDF of that newspaper, not the today newspaper. All past newspaper are already available in our application. You can from there you can get it. And those who are using iOS and iPad device, you can simply download the Class Plus application and use our org code PKRMEG. Okay. So first important news of the day: the easing food prices drive inflation down. So that means recently we are seeing just because of falling of food prices, so our inflation is very low as compared to previous year. You can see once our inflation is used to be 5%, now it is 2.1. So here it is given. So inflation continued to cool in June, with retail inflation coming a 77-month low, 2.1%, and wholesale inflation registering a contraction after 20 months. So in both cases, easing the food prices were a major driver of falling inflation, while drop in crude oil prices further pushed the wholesale price inflation down. So we can say just because of falling of the food prices helped in declining of CPI, Consumer Price Index, and falling of the oil prices also push the downing of our wholesale price index. Okay, so here you can see the food basket. There was a deflation in key item like vegetables, pulses, spices, and meat. So what is the meaning of deflation? Deflation means when price of commodities declining continuously, it's called deflation. So it is negative of or opposite of inflation. So looking ahead, food inflation is likely to remain contained, supported by healthy agricultural activity and favorable base. So because our agriculture productivity is good, because we have good monsoon, good rainfall, so we can expect bumper production. At the same time, favorable base. Favorable base means, if we have higher inflation in previous quarter, so there is going to be very less inflation. Base means we are taking reference. Let's say 100, if we have 100 rupees and it is increasing to 110. So here it is 10 by 100, so 10% growth now. So you can say 10% increase. Let's say in second case, initially you have 200, but it is increased to 210. Then what is the percentage increase? 10 by 200 na, so it is 50%, 5%. So this, there is, though it is both case it is increased by 10, the percentage increase is very less. So this is what called base effect. When base is very low, so inflation will be high. When base is very high, inflation will be very low. So this is what called base effect. So next, India China must next important article is India China must move forward on de-escalation, S Jaishankar tell to the Wang. So we know that our relationship with China recently, we are remaking, or you can say correcting our relationship with the China. Our relationship ship was in a negative trajectory after Galwan Valley, and there are so many relation post pandemic we have seen. So India and China must move forward on de-escalation of line of actual control. So we have to de-escalate. That means currently, if this is the line of actual control, this is Chinese side. So they have built off the soldier. So we are also deploying our soldier. So we have to move back our soldier from there. So we have to ensure that this border should not be having active deployment of soldier. So next, the indicating that disengagement, which was achieved 9 months ago, has still not fully drawn off the actual withdrawal of troops. So we have achieved the disengagement. Before that, we have announced we will pull back all our soldiers, but it is being seen that though we have disengaged, but it is not yet fully achieved. Okay. So next is the normalizing people-to-people ties and avoiding restrictive trade measure and roadblock, a reference to the Chinese export of critical minerals. So recently, what happened? China blocked export of the critical minerals to India. So because of that, our Ministry of External Affairs clearly mentioned that we need to promote more people-to-people contact, and we need to prevent the restrictive trade and roadblock. Just like Chinese, they have stopped supplying of the critical minerals to all over the world that affect our automobile industry. So Jaishankar also stressed the need for Shanghai Cooperation Organization to address the issue of terrorism uh, with zero tolerance. So recently, the China is the chair of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, and we are seeing repeated terrorist attack from that originate from the Pakistan on Indian soil. So we want strong statement. We want very strong statement in SU against the terrorism. So we have made good progress in past 9 months for normalization of our border relationship. It is the result of the resolution of the friction along the border and our ability to maintain peace and tranquility there. So it is now incumbent on us to address other aspect related to border, including de-escalation. So though we have disengaged, that means the security forces, they are not engaging or they are not in a constant tension, but they are yet deployed there. Na? So we have to move them back. So next, continue to normalize. The ties can produce mutually benefit outcome. So because of this tension that is going on at our border region, so it is not promoting good relationship between India and China. If we normalize our relation, it will help in promoting good relation between both the country. Na? So next is a DGCA order Boeing fuel switch inspection. So we know that the Ahmedabad the Air India flight crash. So it has happened because the fuel switch that is supposed to be in the on condition, it is moved to the cutoff position. So because of that, it is not able to supply the fuel to the engine, and engine stops producing thrust. And after that, the aircraft is not able to lift, and it is plunged into the this building, and the accident happened. So Director General of Civil Aviation (DGCA) Monday order airline that operates specific Boeing aircraft to carry out inspection on locking feature of the fuel control switch by July 21. So the report has said that there was a flipping of two switches that supply fuel to the engine, and subsequently there was a double engine failure resulting this accident. So dear student, those who are writing the mains, so if you want to join our mains answer writing program, you can join by scanning this QR code. You'll find in our application there is a separate section on mains answer writing. From there, you can write like mains this year, or those who are writing for 2026, you can write that. You'll get very high quality evaluation at very nominal price. Like here it is completely flexible. You can write 2 question a daily basis, or compiled or write 10 question in a week, or 14 full length test in a 14 days. Okay. So next is Murmu inquire after the Odisha college student meet their mother. So recently there is a very sad incident happened in Odisha. So one student is set fire herself because of sexual harassment by the HOD of that college, and that create lot of uproar in the national, even the state level. So that led to the visit of our president there, and even as a 20-year-old condition in the AIMS Bhubaneswar remain critical. The principal of Balish School arrested, and government asked all colleges across the state run to form internal complaint committee for sexual harassment within 24 hours. Governor seek report. So if you look into posts, prevention of sexual harassment at the Workplace Act, if you look into Prevention of Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act 2013, it is talking about establishment of internal complaint committee in each government institutions. So all the government institutions, they have to establish what? They have to establish पोस्ट एक्ट. So पोस्ट एक्ट के अंदर एक इंटरनल कंप्लेंट कमेटी उनको बनाना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. So next important news is the Punjab government table bill on strict action for sacrilege. So what do you mean by sacrilege? Sacrilege means, let's say, if what is the meaning of sacrilege? Sacrilege means damaging the religious book, damaging, or you can say if you are throwing and disrespecting the religious scripture of any particular religious, then you can call it as sacrilege. So to ensure stringent punishment for those who committing crime of sacrilege, the Punjab cabinet on Monday approved the Punjab Prevention of Offence Against Holy Scripture Bill 2025, so which was later tabled in the state assembly. The bill was introduced by Chief Minister Bhagat Mann, and discussion it would be held on July 15. So life imprisonment. So bill mandated that strict punishment and extending up to life imprisonment for desecration, means damaging the sacred Granth, including Guru Govind, Guru Granth Sahib and Bhagavad Gita, Holy Bible, Quran, Sharif, so other river Granths. So with the enactment of the law, the state seeks to further strengthen the ethos of communal harmony and brotherhood, peace, and amity. So that means, we have enacted that to promote brotherhood, to promote unity, to prevent any communal harmony, to prevent anyone they can misuse that provisions to create tension in the society. The statement also said until now, no specific legislation existed that directly addressed the offense against the Holy Granth, often result in culprit escaping the serious punishment after committing sacrilege offense. So now what happened, because of not proper stringent punishment, so people who might involve in all such activity, but they are not getting the punishment, so that encourage such act more. Na? The next important news is implement UP school merger plan. Shri Adityanath bid to shut down the institution Congress. So we know that recently during previous decade, we have opened so many schools to improve the education of our children. But now what we are seeing, the birth rate is falling. That means very less children are recently birth like very मतलब बहुत कम बच्चे जो अभी अभी उनका बात हो रहा है. तो that means in a particular area we are having very less children. So if that is the case, then let's say if we are running a school in an area, if the schooling is having 30 students, so it is not economical to run that school. Instead of that, what we can do, let's say this is a 1 or 2 kilometer radius. We have two schools. Here is again one more school. Here is even 20 students. So we can merge this school together and create a school with 50 students. So we can provide more teacher. We can strengthen the infrastructure. So that is going to helpful a lot in improving the education. So that is what the proposal that is being given by the Uttar Pradesh government. So in a bid to enhance the quality of education and ensure optimal utilization of resources, so effective implementation of the school pairing system, which has been initiated in the June. So school with 50 students should be function as an independent institution, and Bal Batika means pre-primary. Those students, those who are before the primary, they join there, should be set off in the school building that became vacant due to pairing system. Let's say we are this school is having very less students, so we can just shift this school to nearby school. If this vacant building we can use for Bal Batika, that means student below that Anganwadi student or below the primary school student, they can study here. So it involves merging school with less than 50 students with nearby institution. The transition must be done within fixed time frame and no room for any delay. So this is what we need to implement. The implementation of School Chalo Abhiyan. So if you are talking about attitude change, how you can write this example. So you know that how we can change the attitude of the people. Before the School Chalo Andolon and Sarva Shiksha Andolon, lot of students, they are not used to comes to the school regularly. So government have started a campaign. It is what called School Chalo Andolon. I think you know School Chalo Abhiyan. I think you know this song of this School Chalo Abhiyan. So that create a mindset among the children that the school is about play, it's about enjoy, it's about friendship. So that motivated the young persons to join the school. So this is one of the main achievement of success of the main component for success of the Sarva Shiksha Abhijan. So next is CBI team began probe into the custodial death of guard in Tamil Nadu. So recently we have seen one person, the temple guard of name uh, Ajit Kumar was died in the police custody. So after that, the case is transferred from the state government CID to CBI for investigation, because we know that we need to take very strict action in case of any death in the police custody, because recently we have seen that so many cases of custodial death. So if we are not going to take any strict action, that might not create proper deterrent. Okay. So next is Maharashtra clear the bills to bring drug peddler under ambit of organized crime. So recently, Maharashtra strengthened its law against the drug peddler. So bill amending the Maharashtra Control of Organized Crime, that is called MCOCA. MCOCA. So this is a very stringent act that is being implemented by Maharashtra to control the organized crime and terrorism. And by bringing this drug peddler within that, so it will going to create a lot of deterrence, because this law is very stringent. So including drug peddler and narcotic related offenses was passed on Monday. Okay? So what are the provision you can see? We are bringing drug related issue under this law as things are getting worse. Drug related crime will be treated as a organized crime, because if let's say X person is involved in drug crime, so that X person will generate a lot of money, and that money can be fund terrorism also. Na? That money can be fund other illegal activities. So that is the reason we have to treat drug crime as a organized crime. So at present, those involved in the drug trade are booked under the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances under 1985. That is what called NDPS Act. So MCOCA has several stringent provisions, including extending a detention period of accused, stricter bail condition, the admissibility of confession made to the police officer. So whatever the confession you have made before the police officer, that is directly admissible as a evidence before the court. And police get police get a longer period of 180 days to file charge sheet. In normal case, police need to file a charge sheet in 90 days, but in case of MCOCA or Maharashtra Control of Organized Crime, they can file within 90 days. So you can see the impact of it. So government is also mulling the exploration of possibility of lowering the legal age for defining juvenile. So recently we are saying juvenile means, child who are in conflict with law. So children, anyone between, 18. So if anyone children below the age of 18, they are called juvenile. But, recently we have amended Juvenile Justice Care and Protection Act. So under that, if a children between age of 16 to 18 are in conflict with law, that means commit a severe crime. So there will be juvenile justice board will look after whether this boy or this kid is 16-year-old or 18-year-old. According to that, they can recommend whether this kid should be trial as a adult or as a child. Okay. So Maharashtra is planning to a drug related to trial the drug related case to 16 and a similar gruesome rape case. So it is trying that, legal lowering the legal age. If someone involved in, let's say, in 16-year age rape or in drug related crime, so that person should be treated as an adult, so that the punishment is very high, so that created deterrent for what happening in our current society. We are using child to escape all this. If you look into this urban area, so drug peddler, they use child as a courier of the drug. So because they know that if child is caught red-handed, so punishment is very less. So to overcome that, government is planning, while at the same time, that why child are involved in all such activity. It is the failure of the government, it is the failure of the society. So child juvenile is a you can say, if child juvenile is involved in a crime, so it is a failure of the society, it's a failure of government. So instead of punishing the child, we need to reform the society. Okay? So both sides the argument, you can write them in your society example. So this is a very good point in society and social justice. Okay. So next is marriage is a spiritual union, not as a legal battle. Dekho, this heading, this statement are very important for your main answer writing. So whenever you are talking about, marital rape, whenever you are talking about domestic violence, so you can talk about marriage is a spiritual union, not a legal battle. So you can write this statement as your conclusion or as an introduction opening line or as a point ka heading. So that will give you very good impression. So while you are studying something, please remember this copy, so that whenever you are writing answer, you will have very good answer. Okay. So Nagpur bench of the Bombay High Court has squashed the criminal case involving serious charge of cruelty, unnatural sex, dowry harassment. Observe that marriage is a sacred institution and should not be reduced to the prolonged legal battle that serve no constructive purpose. Okay. So recent trend, the needless to mention that the considering the recent trend of filing FIR against the many person from husband side, it has become imperative to look at the matter of matrimonial dispute from different angles, and therefore if the parties settle their dispute amicably, means peacefully, to live peacefully, it's a duty of the court to encourage such action by squashing the prayer of squashing FIR, charge sheet, and criminal proceedings. So if matrimonial dispute are settled in a peaceful manner, then it is good and win-win for everyone. If everyone is happy with that, so we should go for that. Okay, so that is what the court said clearly. So next is can't stop Kerala from withdrawing its case against the Supreme Court. So you can see about in an 8th April judgment of Supreme Court, maximum 3-month deadline for both the president and governor to act. State will send them approval or reserve for consideration of the president under Article 20 and 200 and 201 respectively by the Constitution. So what happened? I'm just giving a brief background of that. So what happened? So basically, there is in our constitution there is no time limit that has been set for approval of a bill or accent of a bill by the governor that is being passed by the state government. Let's say bill is passed by the state government. It is sent to the governor. So in that case, governor, there is no time limit. Governor can assent or send back this bill to the state legislative assembly. Here, the governor simply sit on this bill for indefinite period of time. So it created a constitutional deadlock because whenever elected government they passed a bill, but if governor without having any elected power simply oppose and don't pass, so that create a hurdle. So that is the reason Supreme Court said in Tamil Nadu case that if it is passing, it said that all the bill are deemed to be passed because it has been reserved for more than reasonable time. So on that basis, so Supreme Court set a 3-month deadline for both the president and governor to act on a state bill sent to them for approval or reserve for consideration under Article 200 and 201 respectively. So you can see it. So in various plea, so that here it is given. The president recently, what happened after that? So there is a presidential reference. So under Article 143, presidential reference made to the Supreme Court regarding that. So a reference authority settled the law whether the apex court should employ its inherent power under Article 142 to impose timeline and specify manner of conduct of governor and president while dealing with the bill. If this constitutional reference is applied by given by our president of India, so if constitution is not mentioned anything, so whether the Supreme Court have this power under Article 142 to ensure the complete justice. So what is Article 142? Supreme Court can make any decree, order, or it can make any law to ensure complete justice. So the president is asking if our constitution is not mentioned any time limit, whether the Supreme Court have the power to specify the time limit or not. So you know that in case of any presidential reference under Article 143, we have to constitute a bench of 5 judges. 5 judges constitutional benches to look after this matter and provide a verdict. Okay. So next is amid Nipah scar, people warn against visiting hospital. This is what Mamalapuram and Palakkad. So what happened recently? We know that the Nipah virus is spreading rapidly in Kerala. So because of that, so government is you can say Kerala government is warning people don't visit unnecessarily to the hospital because that can be a super spreading event. It can be spread to the people so quickly. It can rapidly spread, which is very difficult to contain. So next, so I'm expecting a case study in ethics regarding the topic because it's very burning topic. So they can ask about, let's say you are the DM of a particular district, and in your district, what happened? So recently it is rapidly spreading of Nipah virus. So how you are going to contain? So just study, read all these things. So this can be a very good question. So next is Telangana and Andhra Pradesh to discuss water sharing in Delhi tomorrow. So this article is very much important for interstate river water dispute, very much important for federal conflict. Okay? So Telangana Chief Minister A. Ravanta Reddy with his counterpart Chandrababu Naidu discuss water related issue in Delhi, July. So we know that after bifurcation of the state in 2014, so it create lot of legal issue, interstate water dispute, border issue. So one such issue is sharing the river water of Krishna and Godavari. So no need to go in detail because it is quite state specific news unless otherwise you are from the Andhra Pradesh. But this heading is quite important. So you can just talk about the water sharing dispute between Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. So that can be a very good examples for your answer writing. Okay. So next important point. Ah, so this is a very good news. Scientists find pheromones that cause locusts to swarm and way to block it. What happened in locusts? In locusts, these are actually small insect that can eat huge amount of crop. So when they are moving in a swarm form, so swarm is a collective behavior. So they act together. So in a swarm of locusts, it can contain millions of locusts. In a very few seconds, they consume entire field. They cause wreak havoc to the agriculture. So since time and again, ancient time, we are very much fascinating about find a solutions to the locust problem. So earlier, what we used to do, we simply spray the pesticides to kill them. But whenever we are spraying pesticides, it is very harmful to the crop. It is very harmful to the soil, beneficial bacteria, microorganism. It is very harmful to the human being, also the crop. So we are going to see that in a proof of concept research from the Institute of Geology at Chinese Academy of Science, Beijing, have shown that it is possible to manipulate the pheromones. They manipulate pheromones released by the locust to prevent them from swarming and engaging in group behavior that leads to the feeding frenzy. So that means, when swarm, they move individually, they are not much destructive. But when they are moving in a collective way, so this is very dangerous because they eat very aggressively whatever comes in their way. So let's say this is a field of big field. So if there is a swarm drone flying over that, they damage entire crop. They eat everything on their way. So a swarm drone, each and every locust can eat uh, as much as food as their body size. So you can imagine if there are millions of swarm locust, how much amount of food crop they can damage. So human society have struggled to fend off the locust infestation for millennium. So locust is an insect. I think you know about that. The insect destructive effect of persistent this day, especially when they collect in large swarm and eat through thousands of hectares of crop in a matter of days. So such swarm have occurred once in every few years. So most recently happened in 2019 and 20, a record number of locust moths from the East Africa and eventually passed through the Pakistan and India, making the region worst infection in the 25 year. So I'm just giving you the map here. I'm just showing you map so you can see here. Yes, so locust infection started here from the Africa. So it is started from the East Africa, and here from here it is moving towards India. It's moving towards India, and particularly in Rajasthan. So they cause severe damage to our crop in the Rajasthan. So next is in last century. So the expert and farmer have tried to control the locust by using synthetic pesticides. So, but unfortunately, they also damage the land, food security, and environment. Thus, finding a suitable eco-friendly alternative to the pesticide has been active area of research. So, all scientists they are conducting research. It is possible to manipulate the pheromones released by the locust to prevent them from swarming or engaging in group behavior that leads to the feeding frenzy. Feeding frenzy means when a single insect, if a single insect is flying, it is not that destructive. It is not that aggressively eating the things. But when that swarm of locusts, they fly together, so that behave they that ensure their swarm behavior. So they eat, that promote their feeding frenzy. They eat huge amount of crop in a short span of time. So that is what called group behavior. So several animal, you can see bird, insect, including locust, exhibit social behavior that is what called gregariousness. So it helped them from society with help of large number of individuals work together instead of competing. In order to survive in the first phase of their life, individual locusts are solitary creatures. Then they transitions to their gregarious phase and begins to collect and cooperate in physical grouping, including feeding together. So when they feed together, it is very dangerous. It promote frenzy behavior. Frenzy means piranha. You know how piranha is eating a fish. if you dip a fish in the water, in a piranha infested water, you know that this fish, it will damage that very quickly. Same thing happen with the locust. If locust swarm is going, it will damage all the crop in a very short span of time, because they are very dangerous. So non-toxic insecticide. In a swarm, millions of locusts eat their own body weight of food in and can fly 150 kilometers in a day. So human attempt to tame this swarm go back to the thousands of years, have taken form like, creating noise and smoke, even shooting the arrow. In 19th century, chemical insecticide used. Even today, spraying locust swarm in air with insecticide is still most commonly used method. So even during the 2019 and 2020 infection in our Rajasthan, we have also used the same pesticide in the air. So that is what led to the, all this were just removed, or you can kill them. So in 2019-20, swarm originating in the East Africa after heavy rain and flood created condition for dormant locust egg to come live and rendering 8,000 fold increasing the insect number. Okay. So just read them. So you can talk about, how it is helpful for your answer writing. I'm just giving you explain. First, you can talk about, this swarm drone. Understanding that is helpful for development of the swarm drone. This swarm locust behavior understanding is helpful for development of swarm drone. And again, you can talk about, how climate change is promoting locust attack. So why this swarm locust is attacking in our crop in 2019 and 2020? It is because of climate change. So that led to the untimely rainfall in East Africa. When there is a untimely rainfall, so that led to the hatching of egg of this locust. So they emerge and then fly from from East Africa towards India, and on their way they cause severe damage to the crop. So you can talk about how the you can say the insect or pest disease is rising with change in climate change. So you can talk about how the locust is very dangerous for agriculture. You can talk of how we can use the pesticide to control the locust also. The next is Australia hosts largest drill involve 90 nations, which with chance of Chinese scrutiny. So you have to remember, recently there is a military exercise that has been going on in the Australia. So a largest ever war fighting drill in Australia, that is what called exercise Talisman Savre. Talisman Savre. So are underway and expected to attract attention from the Chinese spy ship. So whatever going on in the Australia, Chinese ship spicy at a distance, they are also tracking their activity. So Australia launched missile M142 high mobility artillery rocket system known as HIMSAR. So if they ask about, HIMSAR recently in seen news related to what, so you need to know about it. HIMSAR. So on Monday during the live fire exercise at the, you no need to remember that. So Talisman Savre began in 2005 at a biennial joint exercise between USA and Australia. So it is initially as a joint exercise between USA and Australia. So this year more than 35,000 military personnel, 90 nations, including India, is also participated. So it can be a very good, they can combine all these things and ask a very good question in your prelims also. So where it is the exercise is going on, Papua New Guinea. So where is Papua New Guinea? You have to map this location. The exercise will also take place in Papua New Guinea, Australia nearest neighbor. It is first time the Taliban Savre activities has been taking outside. So you have just open this map. So you can see Papua New Guinea is located here only. Yes, here Papua New Guinea. I think you can see it. Papua New Guinea is located here. Na? So you have to map all these things so that you should know that which country is located what. By looking into the map, it will improve your understanding as well. So next is already UPSC asked a question related to Petroleum Natural Gas Regulatory Board of India. So it is given Petroleum and Natural Gas Regulatory Board. So already UPSC asked this question, I think in 2019 or so. So they asked whether this is a statutory body or not. So you need to know that. Okay. So what is the news? So Petroleum Natural Gas Regulatory Board of India wants GST on the CNG vehicle to be lower to 5%. So this Petroleum Natural Gas Regulatory Board, it is a statutory body. looking after a regulation of the petroleum and natural gas. So from pegging GST rate on a par with that of EV to waiving excise duty on compressed natural gas and compressed biogas component fuel, petroleum natural gas regulatory board is for a clutch change to accelerate the CNG vehicle usage. So we know that CNG is quite cleaner fuel as compared to the diesel and petrol. So that is the reason. So demand that we need to make sure that there should be a uniform tax rate for both the CNG as well as EV. So transport segment will be key driver to push the share of the natural gas in India's energy mix from current 6% to 15% by 2030. So you can note them down. You can write that in your examination. So if you have to write something like what kind of step government have taken to improve consumption of renewable energy. So not renewable energy, but how what kind of step we have taken to protect our environment. We can talk about government is planning to improve our natural gas share from 6% to 15% by 2030. So it is the current level to this level. Okay. So it wanted GST and CNG vehicle to be reduced from 28% to 5%. Now GST rate on the CNG vehicle is 28%. If we can reduce to 5%, so that is what reduce the cost of the vehicle. So it will give a push to that. On changes to the excise duty, the regulator said that the compression of natural gas, which is undertaken to fill the fuel in this tank and consequently increase the vehicle range, is considered as a dimmed manufacturing. So that means all CNG vehicle we need to reduce the tax rate. So next is the Gems and Jewelry Export Promotion Council target South Arabia to boost the gems and jewelry export. So you know that India is one of the leader producer of the gems and jewelry. But what happening? Our gems and jewelry, they are exported to the UAE. From UAE, they simply just repackage, redesign, remarket to cater to all these countries. Instead of that, what India is planning to diversify its export market and explore untapped opportunity in gems and jewelry. Export Promotion Council is focusing on Saudi Arabia because its economy is very high and there is a rising income and there is a demand for that also. India as a global jewelry manufacturer hub will showcase its expertise at platform, which will be feature 200 leading exhibitor from countries such as India, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Turkey, and Lebanon. Okay, so we need to explore that to promote our jewelry. So next, uh, GCC job induce skilled worker to return to the India. So what is the GCC? Global Capability Center. So Ministry of Finance Affairs recently given a rosy picture. That means a very good picture of global capability center sector, saying that high quality job is being generated here and now, encouraging worker from abroad to stay in India. So if you are talking about how we can attract the NRI, how we can attract the talented people from all over the world to the India, you can talk about the global capability center. Government has established global capability center so that we can attract people from all over the India. So India currently employ nearly 2.16 million people, with employment having grown in compounded annual rate of 11% over last 5 years. Estimates suggested that this number is expected to grow 2.8 million by 2030. So GCC sector contributes 68 billion a direct gross value addition, 1.60% of our GDP. Okay. So next important article is Gen Street transfer 4,843 crore to the SEBI, seek to lift the curve. Because recently SEBI accused the Gen Street, they manipulate the stock market to gain huge amount of profit from the market. So after that, SEBI said that you have to put all this illegally earned money in a escrow account. Escrow account means a separate account. Escrow account means here it is given escrow account. You have to maintain everything in a separate account until the investigation is completed, so that there will be no harm, misuse of that fund. Then next is government department to told to publicize oil, sugar content in Indian snacks. So what happening? Recently we are consuming more processed food. So if we are consuming more processed food, we know that in our processed food, huge amount of trans fat, huge amount of sugar, huge amount of salt. So that is what impacting our health. So rising, lifestyle related disease like heart disease, lungs disease, obesity, so rising. So that is the reason all the government department, they have to publish the sugar salt content. So how much oil sugar and trans fat are present in regular evening samosa, pakoda, chai, biscuit, or jalebi. So Union Health Ministry ask all the government department to display such information in their cafeteria, lobbies, and meeting room in a bid to highlight health risk of popular Indian snacks, especially at time when lifestyle diseases are growing burden across the country. So if we are able to create the awareness before you eating a samosa, you know that how much trans fat it is having. What are the negative health implication of that? So definitely will reduce the consumption. So to promote a healthier dietary habit in various settings, these board serve valuable, behavioral change, not school, office, and public institution, displaying key information about, hidden fat and sugar in everything. So we can say this is what changed the attitude of the people towards unhealthy behavior by showing them, something health impact. That means if you want to change the attitude of people, you have to either appeal to their cognition, you have to either appeal to their, you can either appeal to their cognition, or you can either appeal to their knowledge part, or you can emotional part, or their behavioral part. So here by issuing the threat image, so we are appealing to their emotional part, so that will bring changes in their behavior. So they were also asked to promote healthy meals and physical activity in their office by providing nutritious healthier food option, including more fruits, vegetables, and low fat option, while limiting the availability of sugar drinks and high fat snacks, stating active workplace initiatives such as encouraging use of stairs, organizing short exercise breaks, and facilitating walk route. So if you are following that this kind of activity, then we will make sure that our people are very much fit. So we need to create this awareness among the mass. Then only we can reduce the burden of lifestyle related disease. The center defend new coal power rule, coal power plant rule, and call them cost effective. So Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change said in a decision to exempt majority of thermal power plant from installing flue gas desulfurization. So let me tell you what happened. So the thermal power plant, they emit lot of sulfur dioxide, and sulfur dioxide is main role for climate change, pollution, and PM 2.5. It is also creating acid rain. It is also creating all these lungs related disease, lungs cancer, or around, you can say around millions of people are dying each and every year because of this pollution. So to control that, recently in 2015, Ministry of Environmental Forest and Climate Change bring a notification making it mandatory for all the thermal power plant to effect flue gas desulfurization plant, so that what will do that. So this exhaust is containing sulfur dioxide. So if you install this flue gas desulfurization, it will capture all the sulfur and then release the gas, other hot air or gas to the atmosphere, so that we can reduce the emission of sulfur in our atmosphere. So this flue gas desulfurization can be two type of, it is can be wet, it can be dry. So we have to install that, but problem is that we have seen that scientifically justify towards shift towards more targeted, cost effective, and climate coherent regulation, not rolling back environmental safeguard. So flue gas desulfurization unit are used to cut the sulfur dioxide emission from coal power plant in 2015. So ministry made it mandatory for all the thermal plant to install the flue gas desulfurization. But what happening? Only 8% of India, roughly 1/8 coal power plant have done so. That means only 80%, 8% of our total thermal power plant, they have installed the flue gas desulfurization. So other plant have received multiple extension from the ministry because they are not able to achieve the targets. So what are the reason for not able to install the flue gas desulfurization in their power plant? So limited availability of these units and high cost. Latest order, however, say only minority of the plants, 22% located in major cities with a history of poor air quality, need to install this unit. So according to recent order, that is recent the notification given by the Ministry of Power, so only the 22%, those who are, you can say 10-kilometer radius of NCR region. So 10-kilometer radius of NCR region, and those who are 10-kilometer radius of severely polluting region. So around 22 thermal power plant falling in this region, they need to install the flue gas desulfurization. And India's annual sulfur dioxide concentration standards, if you look into the WTO standards and Indian standard, it is 50 microgram. Okay. So India coal was naturally low sulfur. If you look into the coal, so it is low sulfur but high ash content. therefore led to the low sulfur dioxide concentration. Studies have shown that cities with high, thermal cities with the thermal power plants have flue gas sulfurization technology, and those without flue gas desulfurization technology could not show any significant difference in sulfur dioxide concentration. So the study have shown that, let's say, two cities X and Y. This city is having flue gas desulfurization, and these cities don't have any flue gas, not have any flue gas desulfurization. So there is no difference between the sulfur emission. So then, what is the point of investing huge amount of money, and that is what increase the cost of our electricity? That is what the argument that is given by the Ministry of Power. Not, it is not my argument. So eliminating all sulfur dioxide emission could only result in marginal improvement in particulate matter concentration. So at 1.2 crore per megawatt increase the cost of the cost price. So if you install the flue gas desulfurization, it will cost 2.54 lakh crore. So only bringing about marginal benefits. So under the new rule that is being issued recently, only about 11% of India's 600 thermal power plant, single plant can have multiple unit, have to be mandatorily installed flue gas desulfurization. So only cities, you can say, those who are thermal power plant that is located 10-kilometer radius of the national capital region, or if city is having 1 million plus population, so within 10-kilometer radius, if there is any thermal power plant, they have to install the flue gas desulfurization, not all the plant. So after 18 days on International Space Station, Shukla began a return trip to the Earth. So Dragon spacecraft carrying 4 crew members is expected to splash down off California coast around 3 p.m. today. Shukla will undergo rehabilitation program for a week in California. So after spending 18 days in International Space Station, Indian astronauts Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla under Axiom 4 mission departed from the orbiting laboratory Monday onboarding SpaceX Dragon crew. So journey will take around 22.5 hours before reaching the California coast. So what are the he completed all the 7 experiment, that is all 7 microgravity experiment Indian Space Research Organization said. So astronaut achieved significant milestone in the mission experiments on the Indian strain of tardigrades, mycogenesis, sprouting of fenugreeks and green gram seeds, cyanobacteria, microalgae. So these are what we have conducted experiment at the International Space Stations to understand how it is impacting at the microgravity condition. That is what helpful for India whenever we are planning to launch a space mission. So we can cultivate in space the microalgae that can act source of food, oxygen, and it can act as a fuel. So we are planning to do all these things. So researcher gear up to study seed that were sent to the space. So we have sent a certain seed to the space along with our astronaut Subhanshu Shukla ji. So with group captain Subhanshu Shukla and rest of Axiom 4 crew expected to back on Earth, Indian Institute of Space Science Technology here prepare post-flight field study using crop seed that were sent to the International Space Station, avoiding the high-profile mission. Okay? So the biology payload consisting of dry seeds that were packed and exposed to the microgravity condition. So generally, it is believed that if seeds are exposed to the microgravity condition, it will increase the productivity of the seeds. So if we can back the seeds and started cultivating in earth, so it will increase the productivity of this crop. So biological payload consisting of dry seeds that were pegged and exposed to the microgravity condition on International Space Station and returned to Earth. Back on Earth, the space return samples will grow to assess the unique effect of microgravity on growth and yield parameter and how it will manifest in the growth. So if you can understand better, so it can open up a new avenue in our agricultural sector as well. So next is, so abuse of right to free speech increase on the social media. This is what said by the Supreme Court. What happened? Recent time, we are seeing that, people are abusing the freedom of speech and expression that is being given in the social media. So, for example, Article 19 talking about you have the freedom of speech and expression, but people misuse that to abuse and, to tarnish, to contempt the other person. So Supreme Court on Monday said that right to free speech was increasingly being abused, especially social media, called self-restraint and regulation. So bench of justice said that right to freedom of speech and expression carried with reasonable restriction, using free space to instigate divide tendency, at least in social media, need to be curbed. What happened? People use the social media to promote communal hatred, to promote caste hatred, to promote racism, to promote violence, to promote tarnish the image of others. So that is what need to be prevented. So called for framework. So quote Mulling framing guideline to regulate the abusive, divisive social media post. Okay. So next is the Manrega digital attendance system being manipulated, center tells to the state. So what happens? Center recently implemented the digital attendance system in the Manrega. So nearly 4 years after introduction of the digital attendance system in Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, 3 years after the making its mandatory, government has discovered that a range of way through which national mobile monitoring system. So range of way through which it can be cheated or manipulated by people. So the purpose is misused and added fourth layer along with monitoring plug gap. So under the you can say national mobile monitoring system, geotagged photograph of the worker to be uploaded. So you need to upload the moment the worker reach the site. Let's say worker reach the site, they have to take a photo of that, and at the completion of the site, they have to take in one more photo. But what happened now? The person, those who are working there, they are uploading random photos, and they are uploading photo from the previous photo. So by doing that, all this, so they are actually taking money without proper work, and even so that is what led to the corruption. Recently, the central government introduced a new layer to ensure that 100% verification by the panchayat. Without that, it should not be given any money. देखो, this is what very important, because when we are spending huge amount of money, it should be benefit to the poor people, while at the same time we should not create unnecessary problem for our poor people. Okay. So next is all Boeing 787 found fit to fly. Air India chief CEOs. Yeah. So you can see here the report of Aircraft Accidental Investigation Bureau has described the chronology of events leading to the crash on June 12th. No need to go in detail because this is more than enough. So new studies show that uh, Kitet9 withdrawal caused rapid weight loss in mice. So what happened? So recently we are looking for a drug, or we can looking for a novel way where we can lose the weight of person without impacting the body functioning. So diet that promote weight loss without compromising overall health are being rigorously studied and tested around the world. One such study found that removing just one amino acid, citanine, from the diet of mice led to the drastic loss of 30% of body weight in a week. So in 1930s, when scientists were beginning to cover the molecular basis of nutrition, they already knew that protein that were vital part of our diet, but they don't have fully understand why. The more specifically, they don't understand why all 20 amino acids, the building block of protein, were equally important, or only some of them are crucial for the human health. So, so essential amino acids, they must be contained through the food because body cannot produce them. So essential amino acid, they are very essential, and it is not able to produce by our body. So we have to take some food so that supply that. The other which the body can synthesize on its own were deemed as non-essential. That means it can produce by body on its own. So, so 9 essential amino acids are, so just study it out. So histidine, isoleucine, so leucine, lysine, so methionine, uh, I don't know what is how it's pronounced, phenylalanine and threonine. So just remind that all are end with 9. So you can remind that if something is end with 9, so they are generally amino acids. So low nutrition state. So as the world struggle with rising obesity and knowledge about became more relevant, diet promote weight loss without compromising overall health of being rigorously studied, tested around the world. So the researcher found that removing just one amino acid, citanine, from the diet of mice led to the dramatic and rapid loss of 30% of the body weight in a week. So this result is surprising because citanine is not an essential amino acid. So it is not an essential amino acid. That means our body can produce it within our own, on its own. Okay? So this is more than important. Just you need to know about all these essential amino acid, non-essential amino acids, and there are novel way through which we can there are noble ways through which we can reduce our body weight also. So this article is also very important. Why corporate investment lagging behind? So generally corporate invest when there is a demand in the market. So recently government have taken a lot of steps to push the corporate investment. For example, we have reduced the corporate tax from 30% to 22%. But still then we have not seen any significant rise in the corporate investment. It is because, when our economy is not performing well post the COVID-19 crisis, there is a you can say overstock. So that is the reason the corporate are not investing. So here two formula is given. So GDP can be calculated through the income method if you add all the income of the people. So GDP equals to wage, profit, and expenditure method. If you add all the expenditure, that is consumption and investment, so then you'll find the GDP. Same thing, you can GDP can be found wage, profit, okay, worker consumption, investment. So you can find that. Okay, just read this article. It is talking about that only, GDP related stuff. So it is very important because some way or other you need to study in your economics also. So dowry death in India, long investing, rare conviction. So in last 3 months, so here it is given the story of different person being killed because of the dowry. So mercilessly killed. So in Aligarh, Uttar Pradesh, a woman died after hot iron was pressed against the part of her body. You can see how cruel people are nowadays. So her family claimed that she has regularly been assaulted for dowry. So here unborn alive because of the dowry. So these cases show that the illegal practice of seeking dowry continue to thrive in India. Every year, around 700 cases of dowry death are reported across the country, according to National Criminal Record Bureau. It is important to note that these were only reported cases, and several more go unreported. So national, these are very, this report that is given is very underreported. So actual data can be very high. Okay, so you just note them down. So these are very important. So out of that 700 dowry related death, only 4,005 were filed the charge sheeted by the police. So that means so many cases are unreported. So if you look into that, so you'll find that more number of cases are found in the UP and Bihar. Okay. So here it is given a lot of data, so you can read that. That is going to help you. So women STEM career and more receptive industry. So if you look into here, some good important fact is given. So if you look into that in the number of student, that is number of women who are pursuing the STEM. What is the full form of STEM? Science, engineering, mathematics, STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So here, if you look into that, 43% of Indian STEM graduates are women, the highest proportion among the major economy globally. That means large number of women are participating in the STEM. No doubt, it's a very good thing. So yet women representation only 23% of the STEM workforce. So though we have higher amount of women who are graduating, but workforce participation is very rare. So that means our working environment is not attuned, not in favor of women because of safety related issues. So the periodic labor force survey have shown that overall labor female labor force participation rate has been risen to 41.7%, meaningful jump after stagnation. However, the increasing sharper for the rural women. So rural women, it's around 47, but in urban area, very less women are participating in economic activity. This is because of the formal like work safety issue, then societal expectation, then barrier also. Like for example, it is expected mother to be take care of their kid rather than working. So all these things prevent. Only 31.5% of researchers worldwide are women. So this education employment gap reflects systemic barrier that industry uniquely positions to address. So by creating a lot of education, ultimately good thing, but we need to translate that into employment. So not we are translating because our industry is not tuned, it's not designed in a way. So this data is very important. According to estimate by McKinsey, if 68 million more women to participate in Indian workforce, it will increase our GDP by 700 billion. So you can see it is the GDP more than the GDP of the Pakistan also. So World Bank suggested that achieving 50% female workforce participation rate could elevate the GDP growth rate by 1%. That means Indian GDP grow currently, let's say it's growing 7%. It is increased to 1%, like 8%. So even in our national education policy, also give emphasis to the promotion of women education and skill training among the our women also. So if you look into the gender budgeting amount is also increased from 6.8% to 8.8% in this recent time. And government is also implemented a lot of things. So just read them out and make note of it because they are giving a lot of data. So if any question regarding how we need to promote education among the women, how we can promote employment, you can just write them down in your examination. The next is importance of India and Europe working in this step. So what happened? Why there is a very good chance or there is a very warm up in the relationship between India and European Union? Because after Donald Trump coming into power, so there is flip flop, unreliability, or you can say the transactionalism is bringing back in USA. So due to that, all over the world they are not trusting USA ability. So both India and European Union, they are being the middle power. So they want to have a stable relation so that they can counterbalance, they can protect the international order, so prevent any one country from undoingly taking advantage of it. And also the European Union also faced the threat from Russian invasion and rising China. So in that backdrop, so there is a good, you can say, convergence of interest between India and European Union to elevate their relationship. So because of that, we have recently started, negotiation for a free trade agreement. We are also negotiating for defense deal, joint production, joint development. And we are also cooperating for preservation and protection of international order. We are also fighting together for protection of our climate change. So these are the issue that we are fighting together along with European Union to bring win for the both. So just read it out. It's a very good article written by the Shashi Tharoor. So dear student, this is all about the 15th July newspaper. So dear student, if you like this video, please like, subscribe to the channel because your like really motivate me to provide more higher good quality content. While at the same time, please share this video with your friend and suggest more your friends so that more people can get benefit of it. And if you have any suggestion regarding, any discussion, anything you want, so you can comment in the comment box. And after this, I'll provide the mock question on the basis of daily current affair, MCQ question on the basis of current affair in this YouTube. And I'm also providing the daily answer writing question in this YouTube also. So please read this newspaper and practice both MCQ and current affairs. So in this way, it will be helpful to build momentum and get good score both prelims as well as mains. Okay, dear student. So I'll have to end here. Chaliye, bye bye. Take care. Have a good day.